And the tiger and the man are there in fear, and they are in peace. There is no fear. Fear creates the victim. Is there a home in your heart? Without that, you cannot be welcome. There are many, many, many myths and parables and stories. But what matters is what's in your heart, the story that's in your heart. So, what's in your heart tonight? Because that is the foundation to our Institute for Aesthetically Adapt and Appropriate Technology. That is being formed to create an alternative aesthetic to fear, the fear of materialism. The fear of materialism is not having enough. The fear of materialism is the sense of lacking. The fear of materialism is that hole in your heart that you usually have to fill up with pettiness of anger. That hole in your heart that you fill up with drugs, alcohol, sex, food, overindulgence. That is what the hole in the heart is. You overindulge to fill that unfillable hole in your heart. The only thing that can bring satiation is love's co-creation. So, we had a nice chat this earlier part of the day, right? And Fish went off to find his dream. I hope that it came true. I hope to hear from Fish. I've been watching YouTube. It's a cornucopia I'm watching. It's better than cable TV because it gives you, I just watched, an hour's worth of Kung Fu, right? And basically, and that tomorrow people, and bits and pieces of Doctor Who, looking for something to talk about. And what I see is there is always the hero and the hole in the heart. Kung Fu is, of all of those heroes, he is the one with the no ego. He only is drawn into the situation, and he grew up, his father, his mother, Then they died. He ended up in the Hambu with his master and the blind master. And the other master, his martial arts master and his everyday master, basically, it was the story of a Star Wars, you know, Vader and Luke and Obi-Wan and Yoda. Pretty much. So who were your masters? Who were your teachers? Other than I, your Sensei Al-Bab, who has been that has helped you fill your heart? My heart is full of fresh new energy, created with love's co-creation, and to be the artist in the first person. Now to come up with the original idea. Very good. Very good, Adept. Very good, Dragon, right? That is what I'm looking for. That is what I'm trying to bring out in the cadre. How to come up with the original idea. That all, alternative aesthetic to materialism. And you, my Padawan, have filled my heart. And that's what this relationship is. That is the essence, the totality. Oh, gee, good to see you. Dragon's here. And another bunch. There's 5 of you here. Good to see you all. Jacob. So, tonight's little guided meditation, someone said they wanted to go to, where Merlin and the Round Table and all those guys were. And I think that's for another night. More homework has to be done because the Merlin that I'm more drawn to is the Celtic Merlin. The Merlin I'm drawn to is the character in Stargate. What Dr. Jackson is looking at, right? And that is what, they talk a good deal about that. And they have false gods, and they have demigods, and they have the average ego politician and rich folk and corporate world, and they got it pretty much all in that there. So that is a good place. That's like a textbook. We're looking to draw upon Fish for Angie. Love that show. So we are trying to create, as Dragon put forth, now to come up with an original idea. That's our little window here, gang, is to come up with that original idea. So, I have brought you through, 20% breathing in and 30% breathing out into your Akashic record, right? And I have to take my coat off here. It's getting a little toasty. Okay. And I'm going to put on my original idea thinking cap just to keep my head warm. Right. Bang, bang. Into my heart. So, all those shows are pretty good. Kung Fu, Doctor Who, The tomorrow people, I mean, they're a little stuffy, those tomorrow people. Ugh. Except for the little kid. The two little kids are all right. The little black boy, and the little white boy. And they remind me of both sides of Buddy. Da, 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 da. So, Angie, what have you been thinking about? What has been on your mind? G, how about you? What original ideas for an alternative aesthetic we got, right? Can be difficult, right? To ask, right? So, I think that's where we're going to go tonight. The land of the original idea, right? And here we are. We've got 9 folk. It's 11 minutes. I think we should talk a little bit, loosen up the juices. So, hi, crew. Hey, buddy, bud. So, just a little lost right now. We all are. Right? And, Angie, you aren't the only one who's feeling a little lost. We all are. Right? And together, that's what a cadre is about. One for all and all for one. Right? And I'm here to be assistance of assistance, to give, in Kung Fu, the two masters in that. The old, gray-haired, blind master. And both of them, everyone's got a bald head when they're in the Hambu there, in the ashram. And the one who wears the black, the older master is in the orange, and the elder, the middle-aged one, is wearing black. Because he is not too far from being a ninja. That was, he's the, whereas the blind master of the Hambu, he's master of everything, right? But the master in the black outfit who teaches martial arts and patience and all the things that go with martial arts is in the black. And he's always got, he always has lessons that, Par Kane is always going, well, I understand what you're saying, but you're confusing me. Whereas the elder blind master always answers his questions. Well, that's because the other master kind of tuned him up to be able to hear what the elder master was there to say. Looking for work. What kind of work are you looking for, Dragon? Tonight, when you go to sleep, Dragon, close your eyes and tell yourself, I want to have a vivid dream about where I need to go to get work, right? As I get older, I mean, I always could find work as a young man and as a young adult and as a not so young adult and then a middle-aged adult. I mean, I could always find work. I could always find the work I wanted to do. I could always find the work that would pay me what I wanted. I would always find the work that put me where I needed to be. And right now, the work I have is to serve you and to be your humble master, your humble sensei, you know, Al Bob, that will bring you to all of that that will connect you to serve love's co-creation, right? And so that's my job. That's the job I took on, right? That's what it took me 5 years to get here, but here I am. So, well, gee, if you like concrete, I mean, I have a number of Mason friends who just love it. I mean, it's like art. They create it. They create walls. They create chimneys. They create fireplaces. They create many beautiful things. So if that is what you love to do, and you do it well, then that's what you should be doing. Anything in the moment, or at the moment. Hopefully, graphic design. I'll check my records. Now it's ridiculous. You need a grade 12, blah, blah, blah. Right. So there's always some place you can find work doing what you want where you can come in the door. They need you right at the moment. Like I told you that story, how I got into rock and roll. I was working for Grandpa Stoll for the last, let's see, 14, so 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, for 5 years, right? So I was a pretty good electrician. They sent me out to fix things all on my own. I just kind of walked around and did work, right, for them. And I got this apartment down on Avenue 9th and B because the landlord needed someone to, clean the hallways, change the light bulbs, and fix things in his buildings, right? So I did that. And I got a really nice apartment with a great garden. And the great garden brought me Allen Ginsberg. He was my neighbor upstairs. He wanted to be in that thing. There was a staircase going up to his floor. We took the boards out, and the rest is history. So I walked every day from down 6th Street, pretty much, from whatever neck of the woods I was coming from. There was either that subway right there on the east side or on the west side, and then I'd walk down that street. I always forget the name of that street where all the nightclubs were on. And also was the street that Jimi Hendrix recording studio, Sun Dragon, was. So, no, not Sun Dragon. Sun Dragon was in Midtown. But anyway, I diverse. I'm walking down 6th Street and big explosion, smoke, fire, Bob Goddard screaming at two morons. And he sees me with my little, electrician's pouch over my shoulder and my little bag of tools. And he goes, hey, kid, you an electrician? Yes, sir. Come up here and fix this. I did. He goes, you boys are fired. This kid, you're my new electrician. So that's what you got to do, G. Dragon. Everyone who's looking for what you want, just open yourself up for it to come into your life, right? And not be fixated on it, not to be, oh, what's the right word? Stuck into it. Oh, no, that's not the right word. When you expectation, that's it. You have to get rid of all sense of expectation, right? Well, pieces of paper can be okay, but being able to interact with human beings, much better. Meaning every job I got from the guy who owned the business. Bob Goddard, he owned the business. He ran the stage at the Fillmore East, right? Yes, Billy Graham owned everything, but Bob had, he was the dude. And through Bob, I worked for Billy Graham, and I worked with Chipmunk, and I worked with all the major folk in the rock and roll scene, right? And so because I knew people, I got work, you know. All of my, the last thing I did, that I stopped in, the last time I did it was 2014, was, working for the desperate lawyers in the corporate world, right? I had no, I only got the first job because a buddy of mine who was an artist, friend of mine in Soho, he gave up all his dreams of that and went for the money. He started, doing what we all did, fixing lofts and doing this. And then he took a little money, and his daddy gave him some money, and he bought a little building in New York, and then he fixed that and rented that, and then he bought another one, and then he sold those and bought things on Long Island. He kind of followed my little suit, but he always had a father who had money who would throw it into it, and he, stuck at it his whole friggin' life. So I ran into him when I got down in Florida in the early O's. I ran into him, and he was a big developer in Fort Lauderdale. And he was like, wow, ow, right? And so he was actually married to this woman that I kind of introduced him to all those years back, right? And so they had this big, beautiful house right on the intercoastal and a big yacht and boats and everything. And they had a guest house. And so, of course, Al, you need to live in the guest house. So I did, and they used to have all their friends come over, and I would read for them and be Sensei Al Bob. But I haven't, it was more just Owl than Sensei Al Bob. And they were having issues. They had kids. They were having issues with their kids, and I kind of smoothed that all out. And so I became, part of the family. But the others, even though they had a house separate from theirs for me to be in, you know, when a ship goes through water, the bow cuts through the water, and the wake leaves the water the same in the back, but it leaves a wake, right? Well, often my wake is a little bit much, right? And unless, as one of my clients said, and other people have told me in the same way, that I'm like an acquired taste. So my friends, who I knew, back from the day in New York, Soho artists, and they're millionaires. I'm not a millionaire. I got a little bit of money. I haven't really started to work for the desperate lawyers. But I was, doing a little of this, a little of that, a little demographics, a little research, a little electric, a little this, a little that. I always had all the money I needed. And again, as my grandma would say, I lived like a millionaire, but didn't work like one. Whereas my poor friend was not, he was living like a slave, but he worked like him. He worked 24/7 and da 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 da. Anyway, and that was part of the problem with his family, his kids, his wife, all the above. So I kind of helped them with that, but unless you change things, it's going to stay the same. That's one of the things Freud said. When you do the same thing over and over again, expect a different outcome. And so, anyway, I said to him one time, listen, man, you got all this stuff. Just retire. Well, we were in our 50s then. He goes, I got another 20 years to make another $20 million. I said, you really need another 20 million or a billion or whatever? You got a beautiful wife who really is sharp and sweet and nice, and you got two great kids, and you got that big, why don't you, let's jump on that boat. And one time I took him out on that boat, and I took him to Tortola, right? And that was the island I lived on that had just two little towns and no roads, right? And had all these beautiful beaches that the rich people would go and get, their provisions at one of those towns, and then get somebody like me, a native who would help them find just the right beach, and they pull their big boat into, and then their servants would take tents and stuff onto the beach, and put the hibachi there and the grill and the big cooler, and people, they would be in lawn chairs on the beach, and these people would bring them slushy drinks and live like millionaires, right? And I was there as the interesting native who would give them massages on the beach and read their palms and give them insights. And then I, lived just as nice as they did, had a nice stateroom in that big yacht. And after the boat they left, they dropped me off at the thing. They give me a lot of money. That was a good life. Anyway, I took my friend and his family out to one of those, beaches. And it really wasn't for their big boat. It was not a big deal. And there were a number of places we could stop at between Fort Lauderdale and where that was. And the weather was great. We had no storms, no clouds, so it was beautiful. And I thought that was going to like kindle. I mean, everyone had a great time. Everyone was so much better with each other because we had no cell phones, no nothing, and just the wake when you're sleeping in a boat and you just kind of get rocked to sleep. And I showed him how to meditate and did all that. Anyway, so we did that. We came back. I had other stuff to go do, so I kind of left them. But the next, I would only go down to Florida when I got cold. Like, I had the school here, and I would leave school December 10th. That was my day to go to Florida. And I would go down and I would stay at Jekyll Island in Georgia. A friend of mine had a hotel there, and the crowds wouldn't show up, so he'd give me a really nice suite for like $50, right? With a jacuzzi in there and a fireplace in there and a veranda so I could see the ocean, and they had a big pool and a really nice jacuzzi out there, and never got below 60 at night. So, and nobody was around, and there was a restaurant right just down the road that was really great, and it opened by then. And I would go there every night and have a nice dinner. And every morning I would go to the big hotel on Jekyll Island. That was where the Rockefellers and everybody had their playhouse. And they had an amazing dining room. And the first Christmas I did it, they have a really great Christmas, right? And I went to their Christmas dinner, and everyone thought, there was only, that restaurant could seat 200 people, and there was like maybe 12 families, right? And I walked in, and I had this like Santa, not a Santa outfit, but I had a really sweet felt red dinner jacket with white, silk. I mean, it was the bomb. And I had these silk black pants, right? And I walked in, and all the kids got out of the table, Santa, and ran over to me, and I just kind of played my Santa self. And listen to them and talk to them about Christmas and what's about. Oh, it's about presents. Oh, I want this. No, no, no. What's it about? Oh, it's about baby Jesus. Nope, nope, nope. Not even his birthday. They're like, what? And I said, no. What is it about? And one little kid said, love. I said, that's right. Everybody you love. And what will make you happy this Christmas is making your mommy and daddy and everyone else you love in your family happy. You make them happy, you'll be happy. Better than any Christmas present you're going to ever get. And they were like, oh, and their parents were crying and tearing. And the guy who ran the dining room. Anyway, long story short, they kind of put everyone together, all those 12 families. Oh, let's get everybody together, put all the table. And we had a big, crazy Christmas dinner in this super fancy place, right? And I got everyone to learn the names of the waiters and stewards and everybody who was there. And there was a guy who's from one of these families, and there's a piano there. He went and started playing piano. And a guy came out of the kitchen who he had a couple of guitars, and so we were singing Christmas carols, and it was just like, it's a wonderful life. It was really amazing. And so when I was leaving, I was like one of the last people to leave, all the family, because they were all staying up. They just had to go upstairs. I kind of drove about 3 miles to my buddy's hotel. Anyway, I was leaving, and the head manager guy came over to me, and he handed me an envelope. And I said, what's this? And he goes, everyone was so amazed, and they thought that we hired you. They wanted to tip you. And again, I say, I can't take a salary for the work I'm doing like here, but I can take a gratuity. You know, you can send me something in Western Union to Al, Martino, in Roanoke, Virginia, and then contact my, my Gmail account, the dude awake 42 at Gmail with the, tracking number. And that'd be great, right? But I had a nice big thick envelope, and this was like the head manager guy, right, who ran the whole thing, who handed me this envelope, right? And he said, "How long are you going to stick around?" I said, "I don't know, maybe towards New Year's Eve." And he said, "Well, you can come eat here all you want, not a problem, and you don't have to pay." And I said, "Jim, that's really nice." So that became the tradition. I would leave here on the 10th of January and, go to Asheville, go visit some friends in Charlotte, and then hit, Jekyll Island, Georgia, by around, somewhere between the 12th and the 15th of, December. And then I'd stay at my friend's hotel and go have free food at that nice place, right? And drinks. The bar was free. And I never take advantage of things like that. So they were really appreciative that I'd only have a nice glass or two of wine and maybe one single malt. Anyway, so that was a tradition, and I would do it often. And so there was a job I got that I never, ever, applied or had to have a college degree or any of that, right? And those folks I didn't even freaking know. So around 2008 and 9, when my parents were really sick, I stayed down in Florida, for the last 8 years, 8 months of their life, but till they died, until my mother died, and then I sent my sis, my dad, to my sis, so he could kumbaya with everyone he freaked out over the years. Anyway, but so way I dealt with my parents, 1980, I came back from Ireland, and my father, "You have to take care of us." I said, "No, I don't." No. And then he said, "Well, will you take care of us?" And I said, "Yes, but we have to have an agreement." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, you have to respect me, and I will respect you and Mom. I love you. I'll take care of you, no problem. But, you know, all your other kids hate your guts because you were their boss for the last 40 years and you treat them like shit. Well, you can't do that to me. And I'll know when you're going to do that before you do it, and I won't be here. What if I fall down the stairs? Well, if you're a sweet, nice guy, your fun-loving self, I'll be right by your side. If you're dick, sorry, I won't answer the phone." So we kind of, took a year or two, but we kind of got into that, right? So anyway, every time I got to know a lot of people in Florida because, when my parents were dicks, I just wouldn't be there. So I'd just leave and go on an adventure, meet some people, and get a gig, find some friends I could stay with. And anyway, so I found my friends from New York who were developers in Fort Lauderdale, and stayed at their house. That's why I stayed at their house. My parents were being dicks at the time, so that was nice, to live a millionaire lifestyle. And my friend's wife had all these really great cougar girlfriends that just thought I was the bomb. So that's kind of the ease you kind of have to get into. You have to get into this ease. And the thing I, said earlier about the tiger and the man, and that, when the tiger and the man are, separated by fear, there is fear. When they are one, there is only peace. So, when your lives are fluid in peace through connectivity of being there with love's co creation, then there you go. So, how I'll just be short and sweet about the thing. So, my friends who had the house, their New Year's came, and I was staying at their house. And they had a big party. He has this big party with all these bankers and lawyers and real estate people. And he basically, so I'm just hanging out there, right? And I'm doing my thing. I'm reading people's palms. I'm reading their cards. I got my runes, and people are really loving this. Just going around there. And also, my girl dog had puppies, so I had them, and that was one of the things came down. And I told my dad, "Okay, I'm coming down." Well, he actually called me. You got to come down now. You got to. I said, "Dad, I'm in the middle of a project. I got to finish this up." No, you got to come down now. I said, "No, you don't." I said, "Dad, you're going to give me 20 grand. That's what this project's worth. You want me to quit this? You got to give me a check for, forget 20 grand, 50 grand." And he was like, and then I said, Bella, who was always with me, she had puppies. So I'm coming down with puppies. And he goes, no, you can't. I said, well, you want me there? Yes, you got to come now. I said, you can't do that. Give me 10 days and I'll be there. I'll drop everything. I have to finish this project and then I'll be there. But I got like 7 little puppies. And he's like, no, you can't have them. No, no, no. And I said, okay, I won't come. I won't come to your house. I'll come down to Florida. I'll stay with friends. See you later. Bye. Click. He clicked, okay, okay. So anyway, so I stayed down there with my folks. And after 6 weeks, the puppies were weaned and I had trained them. I mean, these dogs were like house trained, everything trained, and they knew to stop, stop, sit, lie down. Dogs do hand signals much better than words. And so I had these just star dogs, and they were all black, and they had diamonds in the middle, a little white patch on their eye. I mean, they were just so beautiful thing. So I had a basket that I got in Honduras, that all the puppies fit into. And so I walked into this thing, and the puppies were running around, and they were potty trained, meaning they would not go to the bathroom in anybody's house or in anybody's car, period. They wouldn't throw up. They were just, I train, I'm the dog whisperer. I'm the Sensei Bob of dogs. And so they were amazing. So they were running around the house and everybody loved them and they were playing, ooh, 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 right? And so once people started to get a little drunk, I kind of put the puppies in the basket and they loved sleeping on top of each other. So they were like all asleep in the basket, right? And all I had to do was I scratched their ears a little bit, and they were happy with that. And they had a lot of food, and they had a lot of attention, and they had a lot of running around, and so they were all good, right? So this one guy comes over and goes, "Yeah, I love those dogs. I love them. I just want one of those dogs." And I said, "Well, that's very nice." And he goes, "I just give me one of you." I said, "No." And he goes, what do you mean no?" I said, "No. I mean, you're a rich, fat jerk. And you'll get that, and then you'll get bored, and you'll throw it out the window. No, you have to buy the dog." Well, good. Okay, I'll buy the dog. How much? And I said, "How much money you got in your pocket, in your wallet?" He pulls out $500. I go, "Okay, that's what it costs." And I said, "Here, pick a dog out of the basket." And he was like, and he was about to fall over. I said, "Sit in a chair. How I'm going to do it is I'm going to kind of just roll them on the floor there out of the basket, and whoever walks over to you, that's going to be your dog." And so that's exactly what happened. One of the dogs went over there. And, I had given them that Star, and that's, Husky, and that's Bob, so they all had names. Anyway, I let go of 6 dogs. I kept Homer, who every dog there was black like Bella was, but Homer, he was like a calico cat. It was unbelievable, right? So I kept Homer because Bella kind of, they were kismet to be together for the next 8 years. Anyway, so when I walked out of there, you know, I got rid of 6 dogs and I took every nickel out of everyone's wallet. And the lowest common denominator was that guy with the $500. There were people who had a lot more in their wallet than that. So I walked out of there pretty, after the basket was empty and they were all, and they're all like playing with their little dogs. So everyone was ecstatic. They all got readings. They all had loads of fun. We danced around at midnight on this was New Year's Eve. And everybody was happy and everyone had a dog and everyone's just tickle pink. And my friend was happy because all his rich business, that's why, I mean, they weren't his friends. They were he was trying to impress them with his big fancy house and the party and the food. And he had me there as entertainment, right? So one guy, one guy was sitting on the couch and he was just like dejected and my friend said, go talk to him. I said, okay. So I went over and sat next to him, and half the people had already left with their dogs and stuff. And I sat down next to him. I said, so, well, what's up, buddy? Why are you so bummed out? And he goes, well, I'm a lawyer and I have this contract that I have to come through. And if I've got like, hundreds of hours in this and and I had to get them to agree within 2 weeks. And then if they don't, the judge makes summarial decision and I get paid nothing. And I got like 300 grand into this. And I said, oh, so you're desperate? He goes, yep. I said, you're a desperate lawyer. He goes, yep, that's why, yep. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I spent all this time and my wife is mad at me and she's, pissed off that we might lose this money, da-da-da-da. And I said, well, I think I can help you. And he goes, really? You a lawyer? I said, no, but I'm something else. You saw what I did with this whole crowd here. And that's kind of probably the kind of people that you're trying to have a disagreement with. And he goes, yep. I said, they were kind of all dicks when they came in here and they left happy, right? Yeah, you kind of entertained them and talked to them and gave, sold them dogs. And yeah, I said, I can do that with the people you have to deal with. Obviously, you're not good with people. He goes, yeah, I've never been good with people. I'm really good with contract law, but I'm not good with people. I said, okay, I'll do it. And he goes, what's it going to cost me? I said, where are you located? He said, here. I said, well, find a 5-star hotel. I'm going to stay there 10 days, right? And I will, come. Let's see, today is New Year's Eve. It's like this, 3 days from today, you have me, and I want it to be a hotel that's 5 stars. I want a suite, has jacuzzi in it, right? Has beautiful everything, has the veranda, it's on the beach, it's got the big pool, they got 24/7, room service. And I want to stay there 10 days. This will take me 5. I'm going to stay there 10. And if I show up and I start doing my thing, and for some reason it's not going to work out, I want a retainer of 5 G's, right? He goes, no problem. That fits the budget. And this place has to be able to take my dogs, and they should have like doggy daycare or a spa for the dogs or whatever. And he goes, okay. So he finds me a spot that's like unbelievable. I'm there with Russian mobsters and, Chinese generals and, third world emperors and me and the dogs. And so I go in. Long story short, I make, mincemeat of it. I get everyone to sign the thing. And it's all a big whoop-de-doo, and everyone's happy, and I go on, and I leave them with my business card. Well, I don't even finish my 10 days in that hotel, and my phone rings. I yell, hello. He goes, hey, Larry told me to call you. I got the same kind of problem he does. He says you're magic at this. And I said, at negotiating. I said, yeah, okay. I said, so where are you? He goes, well, I'm just over here. And I said, okay, that's not too far from where I am right now. So it's the same dig, did Larry tell you what the thing is? Right. And not only did I get the 5G retainer and the 10 days in the hotel, but I got 7% of what he was going to make. Not his cost, not all that, but his, you know, profit margin. I get 7% of that. And so when your check for your profit is, $300,000 to $1 million, that 7% is a nice little cha-ching. So I told the second guy who called, I'm not even out of that hotel. I said, okay, make the same deal. I want, and I, check and some cash. I need at least a G in cash when I come see you. I'm going to come see you. It's the weekend now. I'm going to, enjoy the weekend and Monday. And how's Tuesday? Tuesday good for you? He goes, well, I'll call you back and I'll see what time. He goes, again, this is time. I got 3 weeks to get these people to sign it, and I've been working on it for 6 months. I'm in the same position that Larry was in. I go, okay, I don't think that's a problem. So again, I show up, I do my little magic, you know, and that's lots. I got loads of stories of that one. And again, I had another really great payday, right? So the guy says to me, he was like ecstatic that this came off, and I put the money in the bank and had nice billfolds of cash, and that's when I bought a car. I went and bought a car. Um, just went into went around and tried all the different makes and models, and found the one that was fitted me and was on sale, right? And I went in there, and I took one whole day of going up every town has a Miracle Mile with all the cars on it. So I went up and down and looked at Nissans and Toyotas and Jeeps and Kias and Daewoo's and you know Land Rovers, because I had money to buy almost anything. And I found this Kia that I really liked and had a lot of things, and it was pretty much looked like had a great little, it was like pretty much bumper to bumper thing for 10 years or 100,000 miles. And I went in there, and they were, every time I went into looked at the Kia 4 times. And one was 22,000. Next time it was this, and next time, and then went all the way down. I bought it for $11,000 because they had to get rid of it. It had been on the lot for a year. No one bought it. It wasn't a lemon. It wasn't a terrible car, but nobody wanted it. And the new cars were coming in, and every day that thing was on the lot, he was losing money. So he got down to $11,000, and I said, "So, what is it really costing you?" And he tells me, he's like really honest, because we're right at this point where I'm really going, what if I pay you cash? And he was like, what? I said, yeah, you know, I'll give you a check if you want a check, but cash. What would I get? What kind of discount? So he takes another 10% off, and I pay him cash. I had it in my wallet. Just, it was like so much fun to do that. And I drove away with that car. And also I traded in my clinker. I had a clinker, It was getting around, but it was getting pretty clinky. So, I did that. And so I went down to the Keys. The second guy, basically, said, I'm so happy I'm not only going to pay, I have this place you can stay down in the Keys. And so I went down to the Keys, and I used to camp at this place called Bahia Honda in the 60s when nobody knew that it existed. And I used to live in Key West when it was like you expected Hemingway to come around the corner. All the streets were sand, nothing was paved. You could go anywhere with your dog. Anyway, so I went down there and stayed at this really nice place right down in the Keys on the beach that was like really the bomb, and had 2 great restaurants, and the whole thing was paid by the lawyer, right? And they liked my dogs, and it was all great. And so I went down just for fun's sake, because in my car I always have camping gear and food and this just in case. And I took all the stuff out of the clinker and put it in my new car, and I drove into Bahia Honda. And by this time, man, you had to like reserve your campsite like a year ahead of time, right? And it was taken. It used to be, a federal thing, and now it was a state thing. So one day I just kind of drive in there, and it's like noon, and the guy, I go, so you got any sites that are open? He goes, you're pretty lucky because somebody has bailed on their reservation, and you are the first person to show up and ask that question. And I say, oh, which one is? And he gives me the number, and I drive around to it, and it's a beautiful one. It's like right on the ocean, and it's got palm trees all over it. Some don't, some do, some are like, but this one's just close enough to they had like brand new, showers and toilets and washing machines. Oh my. And it was also right next to where, you could buy stuff, like food and sodas and water and whatever else a free week. And this was like a couple of days before the hotel room was supposed to be vacated. So I got the campsite, I set up all my gear, and I would, spend the evenings and the mornings in the hotel and then go spend the afternoons because it had these palm trees. And there's a kind of branchy, bushy thing that grows out of the ocean down there, mangroves, I think. And it was such an amazing, the best site in that whole place, right? And so I had that for another whole week. So I stay at the hotel another 2 nights, and then I'm at the campsite for real, right? And so we're having a great time. The dogs love it. We're playing ball. We're jumping in the water. It was just great, right? So, and Homer was still a puppy, so he kind of got into ocean. When I took him to the ocean that had big waves, he was a little, I don't know, but this place had just little waves. The Keys didn't really have gigantic waves. So we are we are camping out, having a great time, and meeting lots of nice people on the beach. And so one day, I'm there in my campsite, and the it's a beautiful day, and then these clouds kind of roll in, and then before you know it, a tornado comes right off of the ocean, right at us. And I'm like, oh my God. And I had all this stuff in the tent, a nice big dome tent, and had gallons of water all the way around it, and a freezer, and a this and a that. And because I had a lot of money, I'd just go to the Walmarts and buy something in Marathon. And anyway, long story short, I should have gotten in the car, but no. We all jumped in the tent. I zipped it up. I didn't think it was just a water spout. It was not going to be that bad. And then this rain hit us like a wall. Oh, it was a wall of water. And then the tornado picked us up, spun us around like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz in the house. And luckily for us, we smashed into the fence that was about 8 foot high that circled the camp, right, behind a Honda. And if that wasn't there, we would have gone and tumbled across US 1 and maybe got hit by a truck or a bus or something and ended up in the ditch that was full of water, and we would have drowned because we were in the tent and it was just circling around. All this stuff was, the gallons of water was hitting, and Bella's like looking at me, you stupid moron. Anyway, we fly across, our campsite, across the road, smash into the fence, and luckily there was no water in that ditch, and the thing went right over us. And then it was quiet, but it was still raining really pretty hard. So I unzipped ourselves out. I just kind of pushed that thing there, and the three of us, Bella and Homer and I, jumped in the car. And I said, I'm just going to find someplace else to stay. Maybe go to that fancy hotel. But I knew there was another hotel just, a mile or two north of where we were. So we went there, couldn't see anything, went slow, found this place, kind of came off, and went in there and said, hi, I'd like to rent, do you got anything? Oh, yeah, the whole place, the Canadians haven't showed up yet. So sure, come on, And I got this beautiful little, it was like a little apartment, had a real kitchen, had a veranda out to the ocean, beautiful beach, had a had a tiki bar, and it had a Cubano restaurant, and it had a marina. It was really beautiful. Anyway, and it had, big king size bed, had a desk I could write at, had a real kitchen, had a beautiful bathroom. I mean, killer bathroom. Anyway, and they let me have the dogs, and it was all good. And we come down, and everyone loved the dogs, so we became a big hit. And we would hang out by this big, beautiful L-shaped pool, and it had a really great jacuzzi. It had a steam room, and it was the bomb of a place. And it cost $43 a night, and if we stayed a week, it was about $100 less than 7 times 43. So anyway, so I stay there a week, and then I stay there another week, and then the lady says to me, you're really a nice guy. We really like you here. You don't make a mess. Everyone loves you. You're really entertaining. You read people's palms and their cards out by the pool, and then you go to the tiki bar. I mean, everybody loves you. Do you have any money? I mean, you're staying here. It seems like you got some money. You got a brand new car, So, and I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, we are selling timeshares of these spaces. And if you had $6,000, you could buy that room that you're in. And I said, really? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, you could, slot your, if you, anytime between January 15th and May 1st, don't stay here. But you could stay here all the rest of the year, as much as you wanted, just for that, $6,000-7,000, whatever it was. And again, I said, sure. You want cash or, and the lady's cash. Well, we'll give you, so we made the deal, we signed the paper, and then for the next 7 years, that's kind of where I went every winter, especially after my parents died. But this whole story was, none of that came with a high school degree. I didn't, have to have any paper. I didn't have to have anything saying I was this, that, or the other thing, because, and for a plate of spaghetti, I basically didn't have a website, didn't advertise whatsoever. Every, job I had with the desperate corporate lawyers was they called me. Larry told me about you. I'm desperate, So that's what you guys got to do with your employment. And the universe wants me to do this. So it's kept me from getting any other kind of employment. Yes, I've worked at a lot of things in the last 5 years, but that was more to help other people out. And yes, in me doing that, people gave me lots of Kroger cards and, Benjamins here and there, and a lot of breakfasts and lunches, and, filling my tank with gas. And that's how it went. That's the universe kind of saying, okay, so you guys are the cadre. You come, right? You're looking for this connection, right? So we're going to serve all our relations. I mean, the planet, the universe, everything, right? By putting together this amazing entity, the Humanities Artist Trust International, with all, as the umbrella, and then, the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technology to develop the alternative aesthetic, and then to bring it out to the public with the traveling video art circus. And we will have a few other little things that I have ideas for, but I'm still working on. And this will give every one of you a career that you will make more money than you've ever made before. And you don't have to invest in it except with, your heart, Whoa, let's see. Before we go into state, and where we're going to go into, I had to tell that whole story because where we're going to go into state is we are going to go to the land of Humanities Artist Trust International. And you're going to see how it works from the inside out. So Angie goes, real easy, 20 hours a week, free, and it's high school degree, Not a GED. Helps so much in job, right? High school. Obsesses, right? I have no expectations. Good. Expectations are breeding ground for resentment and disappointment. Thank you, Dragon. Fish. Fish, Angie. That's good. You know. Jane. Desperate lawyers. Why so desperate? Because they had like hundreds of thousands of dollars riding on completion of the project, and they took 6 months doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it didn't work. And they were like looking at losing a tremendous amount of money and probably their practice, and then getting divorced and all of that. I just helping run music festival once a year. Can't find anything that tops that. Is that festival by chance Floyd Fest? What fest is it, Mr. G? Jacob? Must be fun. Well, having the Humanities Artist Trust is going to be a lot of fun. 8% musicians, attendance, no rules, just love. Yep. I've done a lot of, the Floyd Fest. I helped put that together the first 3 years, and then I was their shamanic electrician. And again, my fun of doing any of that kind of stuff is the organizing, the setting it up, because that's when it's a small, really great group of people. And then the hordes show up, and not so much. Not for the faint of heart. This is true. Fasting is good. Been a while. And, the real kind of fasting, you should just eat less. That's what I'm doing now, being stuck up here since last Friday. And I make a nice vegetarian stir fry or a stew for me and John. And I just eat a little bit of it, not a whole bunch, I don't have, I haven't been able to get out to my breakfast spots. So so I don't really eat that much until I do, I'll go and have my glass of lemon water, and then I do the morning chat and do my research and reading and writing. And then I'll have something around at noon to 1 or 2, right? And then I have something around 4 or 5, and that's about it. And it's really just a little plate, All the dishes and everything are upstairs. I just have these 2 little plastic plates. They're more or less, a coffee cup saucer. Yes, sign language is the way to go. They really way better at that than they are at There's that scene when Charlie Brown, the teacher's yelling at him, and all he hears is wah, 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 wah. That's what dogs hear when you talk to them. All they really pick up is the energetics, but they really understand hand signs, real big time. Yep. And what dogs really want, they want you to be the alpha dog. They want to be in the pack, right? And all they really want is love. Dogs are like 7-year-olds. Yep. Yeah, my dogs were smarter than I was, and they were part of the gig. Whenever I worked with desperate lawyers, we would walk in like a posse. And like I said, I will tell more stories about the desperate lawyers at another time, because we're at 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 22 seconds. So I'm just looking through all of your chats here, seeing what's relevant. Little puppies and kittens together. Yeah. Entertaining for hours. Let's poke a beer and see what on the other side. A bear. Okay. We're getting there. Uncle Fun Nugs, a bear and rabbit both shitting in the woods. Yep. Bear says, rabbit, does that shit stink? Or stick? to your fur? Rabbit says, no. My cat's understand sign too. So Bear picks up Rabbit and wipes his. Very strange. Yes, they are. But cats are okay too. I've had a couple friendly cats. I had a cat that, he was a street cat in Asheville. He was like, the size of a small dog. I mean, he was top cat, and he hated everything and everybody, but he liked me. And he would, kind of be at the door. I'd open it up. He'd walk in. I'd share everything I had with him. He'd sleep by the door and, go after all the rats. I had a lot of rats in that loft in Asheville, North Carolina. Man, underground Asheville. I have to tell you stories about that. Cats and dogs, they know when you're sick and need comfort. Yep. I worked in a hospital that had dogs that could sniff out cancer. Confirms the orb sightings. Sure, guys. Mr. Research, Dr. Research, he's a big dude. He's on his website. He's got a zillion photos of the orbs. Yep, our pineal glands. Yep, clogged by shit and food and TV bullshit. Yep, we got, and that's what. If you haven't really understood, that's what I'm doing for you folks. Is I'm cleaning out all of your psychic points. That's why I spend about a good hour before I do this in shamanic meditation, so I can energize the little stories I tell you. Tiki bar outside my aesthetic records. Right on, Dragon. No, buddy, you're not a bum. You are, a seeker. That's what you are. Getting where you need to be. Yep. Yep. You can do it. I'm still living like a millionaire. Hope so. Hey, Billy. Buddy Bonnie, I'm doing the same. Oh, the Hay Belly Festival. I've heard of that one. Well, guys, you can't be stereotyped. Buddy and Dragon, neither of you guys can be stereotyped. None of the people in the cadre, can be stereotyped. Sorry. Gang, I'm offering you a job opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, guys, I got more degrees than a thermometer. And, they're lost someplace, Those universities, though, keep calling me up, wanting, they expect me to be a millionaire by now. They want money. Dragon, you're not a loser, that's for sure. None of you are. And there's nothing to feel shame about. Just keep going to love's co-creation. We will join the circus. Yep. Okay. So I got down to butts. Big arm and thumbs up and a turtle in between. So, if everyone would get in a comfy place, what we're going to visit this evening in our little journey into our Akashic records is the place of great success for each of you, right? In your careers, right? And the base of operations is going to be, the Humanities Artist Trust International and the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies and the Traveling Video Art Circus and our little Appleseed that we're going to leave at all these universities is the freely inquiring society, freely open, inquiring to understand society, community. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the bright lights, and I want you all to get in a comfortable place and start breathing. Oh, let's see. Okay, so everyone's comfy. Sensei of humor. Okay, everyone's in a chair or lying down or in a comfortable place. So when they leave their avatar, their bag of water, it'll be fine on automatic. See it clearly. I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do, you're going to go into a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. So start off with breathing that 20% in and breathing out that 30%. And your body is inhaling the prana, the life force of the universe that's all around. The ever-present dark energy of our universe is prana. And it's what people call ether or vacuum. Today they call it, you know, dark matter. No, it's prana. See it clearly. You're breathing it in, it's filling your lungs. Your lungs, the blood is passing through it and carrying that prana all through your body. And your blood does not go glub, 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 glub. It swirls. It swirls clockwise against the wall of your veins, arteries, and capillaries, and counterclockwise inside of that flow, and clockwise again. And what does that swirling do but create a polyphase alternating current in your body that is highly charged in Tesla energy or scalar energy. It's multidimensional. See it clearly. And so we are going to go into we are illuminating your whole body, right, with this current. And you're seeing all of your cells being energized, seeing the mitochondria just sparking with this current. And you're taking that current, which is highly photonic light that shows no shadows, and you're illuminating your imaginary mirror where you have your nightly dreams where you have REM sleep, and you're illuminating yourself in your imaginary mirror. And one, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, going deeper and deeper. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. See it clearly. Your body is being totally illuminated with the prana of the universe. You're grounding yourself out with your chi, so the current goes from the top of your head down through your body, down through your feet, down into to Gaia, into Mother Earth. See it clearly. And energetically, you're feeling in every day and every way, you're taking the piece of the earth and making it stronger with your breath. See that clearly. And Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for our sinners now and their death. Amen. And then every day you're taking the piece of the earth of love's co-creation and making it stronger. This is your key tool to create the career, the life, the relationships, your physical health. See it clearly. It is only when we become unconscious and we lose track of our connection with love's co-creation that we get into trouble. That we do stupid things, we say stupid things. We're not aware, we're not conscious of our thoughts. We just get caught in anxieties and fears. But when we are together, when there is no separation between all our consciousnesses and love's co-creation, that's when we can create whatever we want. Right? See it clearly. One, your conscious mind, where the squirrel in your birdcage of your Rolodex mind is totally asleep. Your body, your avatar, your mud puppet is totally on automatic. The autonomic nervous system is you're breathing fine, your blood is pumping, everything's good, you're safe, secure, you're warm. Know that all I have to do is snap my fingers and you're right back here. But for now, we're going to go into our imaginary mirror and project that photonic light into our subconscious mind, and we are walking into our library. And our subconscious is not a scary thing. It's a library of our Akashic records. See it clearly. All those books all over the place, and in front of you is the fireplace of the eternal flame. And it's a gigantic fireplace, something you'd see in a castle, just big, not little teeny gigantic fireplace. You could walk in there, you could drive a truck in there. And I think they called that a keep back in the old days, but I'll have to look that one up, or maybe you could. But not at the moment, because you are totally relaxed and you're walking over. Right in front of you is the fireplace, and in front of that is your reading table, and then behind that is your reading chair, and great photonic light is hitting your reading table, so there are no shadows. Everything's illuminated brightly so you can see it and understand it. And to your left, you're going and you're sitting down, and to your left is your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel. You bow to them and they bow to you in gratitude and grace and humility. Going both ways, just like we have. You have for me and I have for you. See it clearly. Within your guides, there is no hierarchy, You have respect for what they do for you, and they respect you for what you do to them, and what you do to them is connect them within the context of your Akashic record and brings it forth, all of you as a team, to love's co-creation. See it clearly. They would just be standing there waiting for you to show up if I hadn't shown you your Akashic record. Now you might have, someone else might have shown it to you. You might have stumbled onto it. You might have dreamt about it. When it is time, that's when things happen. And it is time for all the cadre to step up. And so, what I want you to do is you're sitting at your table, your librarian has brought you your Akashic record. You open it up and you put your right hand on the right page and your left hand on the left page, and you lean into your Akashic record. You lean into it. And okay, buddy, just hang for the ride. And just let all of your angst, all your fear, all of your negativity just ease into your Akashic record, and you close it. Boom. Now you feel light as a feather, and you get up and you walk open to the open door of your superconscious mind. And there in front of you is the steps, your id. You walk across the bridge and you look down into your sanctuary of your own choosing, your superconscious mind. You see it clearly. You see the meadow over to the east, and east of that, the tree of life. And you go over there and you walk over to the meadow and your blankie. But before you go up to your gazebo, right? And you formulate a question in your mind: what should I be doing with my life? What kind of thing should I be doing? And whatever that thing is, how can it connect to the cadre and the circus? How can I take whatever that job thing I'm supposed to be doing it and bring it into the circus? And when we do the circus, this will be, your name will be world famous. You won't need a high school diploma. People will be wanting you to work for them because of what you've done in the circus and in the, facilitating umbrella of the Humanities Artist Trust International and the Institute, and all of the other things that this circus is going to do. See clearly. So you're walking up the steps, and you're right now standing on your gazebo, and the roof is over you, and you have that elevated look of your sanctuary all around you. You see the meadow over there, and you look out over your sanctuary, and you ask the question, who am I? What am I? Where did I come from? And what should I be doing? And the most important thing, I know I need to know those three things to know what I should be doing. But let's start like Japanese books backwards. What should I be doing? Where did I come from? Who am I? What am I doing here, right? And so ask those questions out loud. And once you've visualized, especially numero uno question, what should I be doing? What should my job, career, / the reason why I'm here on this planet at this moment, what should I be doing to, and if I do that, everything that I need, an income, everything, self-realization, a path to follow, a beloved that I'm going to bump into and manifest my life, all of the above, see it clearly, right? Now turn around 180 degrees and see a person or thing that you can identify with 100%, and it will give you your answer. And it will be a guide of sorts. It will be you have your librarian, you have your animal totem, you have your guardian angel, you have all the ascended masters and avatars that come down the chimney. this individual is like all of that put together, but something else special because it's going to be your guide in Shambhala. So if you had gone to Shambhala before and you met someone there, someone that is like didn't reincarnate back here in the illusion world, but went to Shambhala to continue their life, to master their life. And it could be a famous person, someone who you really identify with. That person, that if you met them in Shambhala, is your guide to Shambhala. See it clearly. And now you're walking all off the gazebo, right? And you're both sitting down on your little picnic blanket. And if you're hungry or thirsty, there's always something in the basket. And then you kind of lie down and again let the sun, warm you up, toast you up, melt you into the earth of your sanctuary through your blankie, and you get connected to all of your relations and especially the cadre. And now you're kind of getting up and you're walking over to the tree of knowledge and the lake of the Great Lake. And you look down at the roots of the tree and you see the little slit in the root that goes to Shambhala, right? So, you see the gold light come up, you see the purple bubbles surround you like bubble wrap, and you ease through that crevice in the root and down through into the dimension that is Shambhala. And this is a great land of, totally photonic energy. And all of the individuals, every great person that you know and don't know are there working on. There's Nikola Tesla, and he has a house with his laboratory, and he's working on even greater inventions. And there is Nobel working, making up for dynamite. And all the great literary people, Mary Shelley, Dickens, Shakespeare, the Greeks, everybody is there. The mathematicians, the artists, the painters, the sculptors, every bit of co-creation, every individual who started out as the, savage, the artist in the first person, in total communication and in co-creation with love. See all of that clearly, right? And what we're now all walking towards is Frank Lloyd's right called Water or Waterfall, or that really famous house in Pennsylvania, the waterfall kind of goes through. See that building or something close to that building if you don't know that building. But it's a pretty big, it's all glass, it's all concrete, it's all red stone, it's flat roofs, and 3 or 4 stories above the ground. And their entrance hall is amazing. The front door is amazing. Big, tall doors, 20 feet high, each door 20 feet wide. And it's the doors that go into the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz, right? And this house is like the Emerald City, but it's a house that a waterfall is kind of going through. And that's because water is the we have fire, wind, earth, rain, wind. Water. Water is one of those major elements, right? And what water represents is freedom, knowledge, not getting stuck, not being neurotic, not being, having a belief that you're stuck in, that you're free, that you're open, that you're ready to create. And that's what's needed. And you look above the gigantic doors and big, beautiful purple and gold and every other color is like undulating, and it's like black, and it's undulating all these other photonic colors. And what it says over it is what it says over the doorway of the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself, right? And so we walk, the doors open, and as the doors open, on the side of the doors, there are all these other sayings, right? And as you look down the great hall, there are other great big doors, 9 other big doors, and over the first door it says, you know, Humanities Artist Trust International. And then the next door says the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technology. And then the next one, it says the Traveling Video Art Circus. And the next one, it says, the Freely Inquiring Society. And that is I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4 doors. And there are another 5, right? And we will come up with the ideas. But in this long hall, it goes into a great, it looks exactly and is exactly the Iroquois longhouse, but I mean really long, that all our relations can fit in. And in that is where we go in to have the best of times to create, and there is no writer's block or creative block or anxiety or any of the above when we go in there, because we're all there together, all together now, all together now, all together now. Okay, so you each have a guide specifically for, Shambhala and this great house, where its essence is to know thyself. So I'm going to be quiet now. And you each have apartments that are off the entrance into the lodge. You have your own little apartment. So I kind of want you to first, and there is a kind of common room. You walk through the great door that goes towards the longhouse, but there's this common room that comes from the door into the common room, and there's the longhouse, and there are all of your little lodges, right? You all our relations, they have a place where you can go home. This is home. That big house that you see coming into the forest and the waterfall flowing through it, that is your home. That's where welcome home. One of the things on the side of the door when you walk in, it says welcome home. See all of this. Feel it all in your heart. Be there now. And 3, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. And you are just letting go of all of that anxiety, that was in you. And it's like, when you're in this home, you're a home, not even though you use the Akashic record to eliminate all of the angst and fear and self-doubt, there's always, a residual, because you've been reincarnated so many times. And that's what your Akashic record's there, And in your lodge, there's a doorway that goes right back into your Akashic record. You don't have to go through the whole process, go back into your, sanctuary of your own choosing and over your id and all of that. You're going to go right from your lodge into your Akashic record, right? And your guides will always be there. Even if they're swimming in the lake, they will be right there when you walk through the doorway from the shortcut from your lodge in the house of knowing thyself. Okay? You're getting all this. You're seeing all this. You're being there now. You're with your guide that will stay in your lodge, you know? And that guide can walk through the shortcut from the lodge into your Akashic record, not a problem, right? Just like the nice chairs that are by the fireplace for the Bigfoots, there's one chair for your lodge guide. See it clearly. Now you're getting all your tools together to be able to take advantage of this open window of opportunity that I started back 40 days and 40 nights. We're still plugging away at the 40 days and 40 nights. That's, that is the window of opportunity. And it is not controlled by linear time because it is in, you know, your Akashic record. So see it clearly, right? So you need to practice going in state yourself. When you go to sleep, when you wake up, 4 to 10 times a day. When you feel tired, when you feel stressed, you just close your eyes, breathe that 20% in, and bingo, you're there. And when you do it that way, you can go straight away to any of those places we have visited so far, except through the doors that you have to go through. Everything that doesn't have an event horizon, every open door is open to you. The ones that are closed and have event horizons, you have to do it with an avatar, right? And later on, the more you practice this, the more you'll be able to do that without me, your sensei Al Bob. I'm just getting you to this place where you can use these tools at your own leisure. And that means all the time. When you are in state, that's when you're awake. If you are being in state 5 to 10 times a day, that residual will keep you awake and safe from all of harm's miscarriages of love's co-creation. See it clearly. And so wherever you are right at this moment that you think you are in this illusionary world, realize right now, this second, that that's the illusion, this is the reality. The more you stay awake, the more you will be able to ascend to the life you want of service and love's co-creation, where you can make everyone of the cadre and all our relations happy. Because when they are happy, we are happy. When everyone, all our relations can be in this state of mind, with the snap of our fingers, we will be back in love's co-creation. And the bubble of Lucifer's illusionary world will pop. And everyone in this whole universe will be able to go home. All of those demonic demons and ghosts and goblins and entities from other dimensions and other galaxies, even though they may not have a free will, they will be able to go home. And within the construct of love's co-creation, they can create a consciousness of love that will have a free will. Because that is what love wanted in the beginning, that caused the fracture and separation. And love's co-creation realized that instead of just being on the plan, people, everything, and everybody, all our relations had to individually, free will wise, go into love's co-creation. See all this clearly. Understand this clearly. So now all the doors are open, except for the doors of the other worlds. And again, you can go by going through the process of going to your superconscious mind, and you can go into your the tree of knowledge. You can go into all of those worlds that have the back door, right? But you don't need to do that to go into the house of knowing yourself. You can just go right from your Akashic record into your lodge. That's in the house. That's you being, you're in the house, right? You're welcomed home. And that feeling, I want you to feel this. What it's like to be welcomed home, right? Because once you start feeling this unconditional love, once you start feeling this sense of well-being, once you feel this sense of totally connected, which you're already feeling, but because of all of these past lives, you have all these residuals of doubt, and oh, this can't be true. Yeah, I mean, I'm really feeling this. I can't believe this is happening. I've never done anything like this, and it's really amazing. I can't believe it's going on. No, it's the other thing that you've been experiencing all these eons. This bubble of Luciferian desperation, of disappointment, of the illusion of separation that doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist in your Akashic record, and it doesn't exist in your lodge, and it doesn't exist in your home or any of the other lands that you can get to through your superconscious mind. See this clearly. This is your lineage. This is what you are meant to be, not this other crap, this illusion crap. No. All of this, love's co-creation. This is what's real. See it clearly. And you're coming to the morning and evening chats because I'm putting you in a shamanic state of mind and opening up the workbox of being a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist. And if that's not enough degrees for you, I don't know what is, and you will be able through this practice, where you will be able to, be a master of all these things. You can say, hey, I'm a shrink, and they go, well, where'd you get your degree? You just say, give them my Gmail account and say, I was at the University of the Humanities Artist Trust International, right? And I went to the Institute of Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies, right? And I will, if you come and join this, I'll definitely give you a diploma that you can hang on your wall, right? That'll be better than, the people from Harvard will be like, really looking up to you, right? All of those sycophants will be going, oh my God, it's Dragon. Oh, it's Buddy. It's Jane. Yes, it's all of you, all of the above, right? And you're not sock puppets, and you're not the usual suspects, and you're not the powers that shouldn't be, and you're not the hidden hand. And now all of that will be like licking the boots, and all of that we will enable them to come home and realign themselves with love's co-creation. And that is the service that we are doing, bringing all our relations back home. See it now. Now I'm going to be quiet for a moment or two, and I want you guys to go settle into your lodge, go to Longhouse, look at the common room, see all the interesting things that are there. And again, more and more that you can spend in your Akashic record looking at it and going through all your past lives and seeing it in the 28 screens and getting the perspective so you can say, oh, okay, that's why I did that, and that's why it led to this, and this is how that happened. And oh, I got the perspective on that, and I won't do this anymore, and I won't get upset, and this is why I'm so impatient, and this is why I'm so down on myself, and none of that matters, and this is what, okay? I'm going to be quiet now, and you're going to go pursue all of that. Your toolbox is open. You have the access to the keys, okay? Okay. And I'm here You can text me as you are, and I will give you answers. But for now, we're going to be quiet and just read the texts. And you guys will explore. And three, you're in a deep, 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 deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You have quieted the squirrel in your Rolodex, and you have illuminated your imaginary mind and shined that photonic light into your Akashic record. And you have gone into Shambhala, through the sanctuary of your own choosing, through the tree of knowledge, and you've come to the house where you know yourself, know thyself, and you're welcomed home as you walk through those big doors. And that big, beautiful house with a waterfall flowing through it, and all those doors of all the things we're going to do. The 4 that are in front of us and the 5 that we will reinvent together. Like I think the 5th door is within the construct of the Institute of Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies. But this is so important, it needs its own door, and that is creating an alternative aesthetic to the material world through love's co-creation. See that clearly. And you're in your own lodge, and you are like, setting your nest up, how you want it. And your guide is there that you met on your gazebo. And if you haven't, it's still there, and it'll come to you. It'll get stronger and stronger. And all of this will get stronger and stronger. Like I said, you've had numerous past lives and this life to get stuck into things. And this power of your Akashic record, this power of love's co-creation is so strong that you can wash away all of that conflict within a matter of days, weeks of practice, and then putting forth the effort to truly understand all that I am showing you, and then manifesting it in your life, because I'm not doing that. You are manifesting your own life. I'm here as your sensei, Owl Bob, and I'm not a magician. I am you know, an adept like you. Just, I got a few more years in it, right? And what was Obi-Wan Kenobi? He was, an adept, a Padawan, a master. But a master is just a shaman, A master is just a sensei, a teacher, right? because you got to master what you're going to teach if you're going to be a teacher. Otherwise, you're just an instructor, an adjunct, a comma, an asterisk. You know, and all of you are masters. You know, and once you master that one thing that you are master to be, you can master everything else. You know, see it clearly. And again, I'm going to be quiet for a moment or two, and you guys are going to, again, get comfy in your lodge, go to the commons room, walk into the entrance of the hedgerow longhouse. And you can see the hedgerows on the inside of the house and not just, and they're also all the way around it. So you are triply protected. You've got a hedgerow around it, then you have water around that and a waterfall. Anyone tries to get in, they're going to be washed away into these really prickly bushes that are going to rip them up. So when you're in the house, you will be totally protected, right? See it clearly. And three, you're in your lodge, that's in the house, that's surrounded by the hedgerow. And the longhouse is right off the common room, and the common room is right off the great entrance hall where the doorways are to our endeavors. See this clearly. And three, I want you to walk through the shortcut from your lodge into your Akashic records. Sit down at your reading table, open up the book. I want you to look at all of the things that upset you in this life right now, in this material flypaper. I want you to see all the things that got you stuck. And along with your three guides, your librarian, your animal totem, and your guardian angel, you also comes to the table is Bigfoot. And also that comes to the table is your lodge guide. And you're all sitting around the table now. And you're all looking at the things that irritate you, upset you, piss you off, disappoint yourself, the things that give you self-doubt and self-loathing, all of those things. And you're looking at them in the 28 little TV screens around the big screen. And whenever you see, oh, look at that. Look at why okay, this is why this happened. This is what's, okay, I understand. I don't have to do that. I can get over that. But whenever you hit, a speed bump or a wall or a stop sign that makes you go into fear and anger, that's when all of these guys who are around you will hold you and impart onto you telepathically not only the understanding but the feeling within your vagus nerve, so you can re-establish the connections between your hypothalamus and your pineal gland and your third eye and your heart and your higher conscious, that little gold thread going up to your higher conscious. See it clearly. Now it's 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 54 seconds. Another interesting time. Coincidence. And here I am. I was just off the side. So, you guys have any questions for me while you're here in your Akashic record? And while it's open and while you're looking at things and you have all your guides around you? Well, all these cute little humorous remarks here are just kind of reminiscent of, the cheeky monkey in school who knows it but doesn't want to know it, has access to it but it's not going to open the book. I mean, you guys, I know you're already opening the book. You've changed 100% from where you first were. And Fugnuts, I'm adept at being inept. Well, let's kind of take that apart. That word inept, what does that really mean? It means you're somewhat anxious. You're somewhat not on time. You know, you are you can't make that step because you think you're going to fail. Well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? You fail. I fail all the time. Mistakes are good if you learn from them. So you are adept at. Is that benign or being? Being. Well, you are. Change the word inept to learning, to understand the situation. Try. Context. Dragon says, try to draw the worlds I see while I'm in state. Put into context that words fail. Exactly. That's why do you think I try I take as much effort to try and find the right word. And there's no perfect word. There's just the best word within the limitations of the illusion, of spelling. If you guys go to my writing at xratted.blogspot.com, a lot of people have read, boy, he can't spell, can he? Oh, and look at his grammar, and he runs all these words together, and he puts spaces where, and he doesn't use any periods, only semicolons, and they can't see that it's a metaphor. Even though I keep constantly saying, guys, just step back and look at the picture. And that's kind of. So when I learned to paint, where I learned to paint was I learned to paint scenery, right? And scenery is, theater's kind of a magic. You build these environments and you leave out the fourth wall that the audience is like looking into the room or into the event horizon of what the theatrical magic is going on. The Greeks, Shakespeare, that's why he built the Globe Theater. And everyone in between who did it any good, that's what they were doing. So I learned how to do trompe-l'oeil and other, little painting magic tricks. And then I kind of moved it into, putting them on canvases. And I had people who sold them for me. And I traded them with other really great artists who became famous, and maybe those paintings are worth something. That's what you have to do. You have to first, learn how to do it. And the art of theater is people don't go up and look, they didn't look at my scenery like, within a foot. Then then you can see I made it with a glue gun and Brillo pads and crayons. And acrylic paint, but from 60 feet and further back, it looked like a Renaissance villa, And that's how you have to look at things in general, is that you can't get it perfect. And within the illusionary world, we find ourselves at a loss, you know. Yes, it's in the metaphor. Exactly. The truth is in the metaphor. And that's why we're, within the house, you have all the freedom and none of the restrictions to find the perfect word, to find the perfect painting, to find, the alternative aesthetic. That's what we're looking at. And that's what the Greeks, that's what the guy in the cave did when he scratched the picture of the antelope and the tiger on the cave wall a gazillion years ago. That's what the Greeks did in their mathematics, poetry, and theater. That's what Shakespeare did. That's what all the great minds and creative geniuses who, why were they creative geniuses? Because they were born without that self doubt. So they were constantly in connection with love's co creation. I mean, everything that humanity has done that has been outstanding, amazing, beautiful, and just the bomb is because they were in co-creation with love. To say that we don't cross limbs, just curious. Cross, oh, you mean cross our arms and stuff? Well, energetically, shamanically, when you cross your arms, your legs, and stuff like that, you put up obstacles, and if you take out all the easy obstacles, like not crossing your legs or your arms or your fingers, your eyes, or whatever, it will make it easier to go into state, to go from the physical illusion into love's co-creation. There are these, that's what Lucifer did. The Big Bang created all these roadblocks, all these obstacles from love's co-creation. So if you can just take out the simple things that your avatar can do pretty simply, then it's not a big deal. Yes. Yep. By crossing it out energetically. Exactement. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That too. Say all you guys are brilliant, and we just keep, if we, all of my accomplishments have occurred because have occurred when I didn't give up. I just kept plugging, kept playing. All these obstacles are in my way, all these failures, all these, just kept plugging away. Like painting, like, stage, I was a lighting designer. I mean, that was like in my DNA. But I started to have to do, if I wanted my lights to look right, I kind of had to have the scenery done in a way so it shined it. And it also put the actors, actors would always tell me, can't you put another light over here? No, you stand in the light. Here I'm putting X's on the ground where the light, you will be in there, and I had to teach actors how to use light, meaning how to use shadow, how to do that. Because sometimes in theaters, I was the ME for a show, the most expensive show on Broadway, and lasted like 3 nights. It was called Got to Go Disco. You should you should go Google that one. And the lighting designer guy was like, must have been on the brown acid, because he had put more lights in that theater than any theater ever had. We had to put more steel in. There's a thing that there are these pipes that the lights are on, and you can bring them up and down. So you don't have to climb all the way up there and put that light up there. You can bring the pipe down and hang the lights on them, and then elevate it. And if you're good, you can actually focus the light on the ground instead of having to climb up there and move it around. And I was very good at that. So, but this show, I could light a Broadway show with about 150 instruments, right? And that was, I could do it with less. I could do it with 50 instruments. But to have a light every place and get the effect I wanted, da da da, I would about 150. And but Gotta Go Disco had 1,100 instruments, Fresnels, scoops, Lecos, and it was like, just disgusting, right? I just had, I was just the ME. I said, I am not being your designer on this one, and I'm only, you give me the plot. I'm not even, I'm just wiring it so this place doesn't blow up, you know. And I'm not hanging anything. I am not focusing anything. That's what you have your text for. And good luck with that. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't blow up. And that's the kind of mastery. And if you master one thing, you can do the next and the next and the next. And so, I had to learn how to act because then I had to, I kept telling the actors, just stand where that X is, right? No, I had to learn how to act so I could be sensitive to what the lights were, I could be empathetic to what the actors were experiencing, so I could show them, yes, you're a great actor, you're great this, you're doing right, but just be aware of this, and the audience will love it more. And once the actors would see this, they listened to, and once they realized that I took the effort to become an actor, and that's why I got into writing, because I wanted to know the script. That's why I got into directing. Now, I don't call myself a director. I don't call myself any of that shit. I can do it all, and I've mastered it, but I don't call myself the greatest this, the most amazing. No, because my ego is not on the line for any of this. Zip. I am just here to serve. So I learned how to do it. I mastered all of these things. And in the process, I got a lot of degrees. I would do something and I'd be involved in something, and my superiors would say, you need this degree to do this. And then they would give me one. My patience and understanding and love is because I love you guys, and that you are working at it, that you are trying more than a lot more people I've tried to show this to, and that this is the first cadre that's come together, meaning I've had some pretty good Padawans and some individual adepts, students, but I have not been able to bring forth a crew that I could give the idea, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to do something together that will change not only your life, but the frigging world, right? All together now, all together now, all together now, all together now, all together now. Thanks, Dragon. I'm not a big drinker, but I like good things. I like a good beer, not just beer, a good beer. I like one or two. Wine, I like a good wine, too. Right? I love you all. So here we are, at 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 47 seconds. So I think I'm going to say goodnight in about 5 or so minutes. When we hit 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 10 seconds, I think I'll sign off because I'm getting tired. But this was another good one. So now you got your own house in the Akashic Record. You're in the house, man. You got your own lodge that has a shortcut from the house to the lodge to your Akashic Record. And, you had not only your guides sitting around the table, you had the Bigfoot, your lodge guide, right? And you see the shimmering opportunity of this amazing thing we're going to do together. And you got me, I'm not only your cheerleader, I'm your Sensei Al Bob, I'm your teacher. I'm here, when the bus needs to be driven, I can get behind the wheel. And I can help each and every one of you individually. All you got to do is get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And go start reading my stuff on xratted blogspot.com. And if anyone's got a few extra things you could send to me through Western Union, at Al, Martino, in Roanoke, Virginia, and Gmail me the routing number, or send me something to my P.O. Box, P.O. Box 1165, Vinton, Virginia 24179. And everything that everyone has sent me, I really love, love, love that, And if anyone could come and get me, and I've been up here on this mountain since Friday. I'm getting a little stir crazy, but it's been beautiful, and it's been good with John, and I've done all these chats with you guys, so that kind of help me has enabled me to these last 4 nights of live chats have been pretty outstanding. But all the rest, the last 20 days or so has been very special, you know. And go back and use these live chats. They're there on the YouTube, and I would love it if any of you could put this on your hard drive, put it on a flash drive, because leaving it up to the powers that be, I mean, they are watching this like a hawk, and they are realizing how powerful this is, and they also realize that, giving us free rein at doing this is a good thing, and because this is a different angle, for they've not had this forever. And so when something like this, like I said, the window is open, so we can take advantage of this, right? Yep. Okay. I'm here for you. And anybody in America who wants to come and get me, please do so. Especially take me someplace warm. And I have loads of friends that we could go visit. It's just my vehicle is really, I have to treat it with kid gloves because, I have almost 200,000 miles on it, and I have no money to fix it. And I've already had to put a new transmission, new tires, new this, new that, and everything kind of, it's still running, so that's a miracle. And I, every time it starts up, I praise Jesus. So it's all going in the right direction. And as my teacher would always say, Ashake would always say, all things are as it should be. And if you want to know anything about Ashake, you go to the story of my twin flame, my second wife, my wife that was not registered, and read that story, and you'll get if you read all those stories, you'll get a different picture of your Sensei Al-Bab, a deeper one, right? Thing about them, you got to kind of read them 6 times. So that's, like I said, a couple of you have been like, oh, it's taken me so long. I mean, each story is like somewhere between 30 and 60 pages. So you kind of should, or try, just read it quick. And even if it's complicated or confusing, or you don't understand why this word is spelled that way, or why a whole paragraph is run into it, well, just kind of try to tiptoe through it quickly and get as much as you can get of the story, right? Then you kind of go back and see it again. And then you kind of go back and see it again and read it real slow. Then you go into your Akashic record and read it in your Akashic record, because not only will you see the text on your page, but you'll have 28 little TV screens giving you a even deeper, I mean, if you really want to know what it is, read my stuff in the Akashic record. Because the stuff that's on xratted.blogspot.com is also in your Akashic record. So, okay, we jump past, look, it just passed 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 14 seconds. And 40 minutes. So, I think we're doing pretty good. I think it's nighty-night time. Don't be shy now, right? Thank you. Love you all. Yep. Keep in touch. Yep. Don't be shy now. Okay, gang. I'm gonna say, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay. Okay.